I'm Michelle Kennedy, and this is Real Quick, a short cast featuring an essay, almost every day. I did not record an episode Monday or Tuesday because I was traveling. My husband's birthday was last week, and we got to go to New York City and see the Yankees play and stay at the famous Algonquin Hotel. Unfortunately, travel and excitement generally make my lupus flare up, especially if there's heat or sun involved. So after any trip or during one, I generally need a day or two to recover. So I took yesterday to recover. My hope had originally been to record this episode from the bathroom of our room in the famous Algonquin, but I wasn't really up for it. Lupus can make your head fuzzy, and the middle of a flare is generally, I've learned, not a good time to try and organize anything new. If you don't know about the Algonquin, it is a gorgeous hotel on Manhattan that has been around since 1902. It was also, I found out, the first hotel in New York City to offer rooms to single women travelers. How modern. You know, I read stuff like that sometimes, and I think, what am I supposed to think? What I was taught to think in high school, which is, oh, how modern, good for them. But really, it's more like, what the fuck, isn't it? I mean, honestly, I was born in 1972. I cannot fathom not being able to go to another city and get myself a room because I'm a woman. That's insane, but there it is. And thank you, Dorothy Parker, and all of you other female travelers for making that leap for us. But man, what the fuck? Anyway, in 1919, the Algonquin was where the infamous Round Table and the Vicious Circle began, featuring Alexander Woollcott, Dorothy Parker, Robert Benchley, Ruth Hale, David Wallace, and many others who soon joined or visited the circle. The New Yorker, covers and cartoons of which haunt every corridor of the hotel, was conceived at the Round Table. My own rejection from them, the New Yorker, always stings a little more because I love that magazine so much. I had an amazing time with my man at the hotel and the game, my first Yankee game. More on that another time. The hotel was strange for me because I realized at first that I was not overly impressed. But then I realized later it was because everything was everything I like, and it felt so almost at home to me that maybe I didn't need to be impressed, and that was impressive. The Algonquin is Art Deco and New Yorker cartoons and books and comfy pillows and a cat. I love the elevator buttons and the door handles and the chandeliers and the rugs and the staff. If I could afford it and I was a single woman traveler, I would live there in a second. But alas, I am back in Vermont. I encourage you to learn more about the history of the Algonquin Round Table and the Vicious Circle at a great website I found called algonquinroundtable.org. So all one word, .org. I am posting a few pictures of the Algonquin at my website, which is mishkennedy.com. So feel free to check them out or go to my Insta, which is at writermish. There's a few pictures there of some neat things I found that they don't have on the website. So, I just thought that would be fun to share. Today's essay, is about the last 6 months or so. I've been struggling a lot with my lupus combined with menopause and middle age in general, my purpose in life, the normal stuff. And I found myself not just in the middle of a depression, but in the middle of a real and true depression. I'm not sure I'm totally out of it, but being unmotivated is not something with which I was familiar. I am now even finding motivation for things right now. I'm doing it, but it's harder. Anyway, here is my essay. Unmotivated. If you'd like to contribute an essay and read it here on Real Quick, please write me at writermisha1313@gmail.com or contact me through social media or my website, mishkennedy.com. Unmotivated. Menopausing my life to find what's next. By me, Michelle Kennedy. I have never felt so unmotivated in all of my life. I have never been unmotivated. I have been unable to do the things I was motivated to do, and I've become unmotivated to do one thing, but then motivated to do another. But I've never been just completely and thoroughly unmotivated. I've always wanted to do something, or a lot of things, or one thing, whether it was dog mushing, or child raising, or gymnastics when I was 8, or being a page in the United States Senate when I was 15. I've always been motivated to do something. When we lived in Alaska, I broke my toe during the prime dog mushing season and was laid up for about 6 weeks. I started a farmer's market to keep from getting bored. But now I'm bored and unmotivated. I can't seem to get enough enthusiasm together to do anything at all. I bore myself. Is this menopause? Some people say this is a natural, almost midlife crisis effect that menopause has on women. Maybe that's true. It makes sense and fine. But what do I do about it? I've lived my entire life on the premise that life is short and that we have to take advantage of opportunities and explore and do what we love. And now I don't want to do any of it. I am almost 52 years old and I feel like I've done everything already. I know. Go learn something, Michelle. Okay. And I'm trying. I've been looking for classes that aren't full to go learn something new. I even got a gym membership to force myself out of the house and into the sauna. I row for an hour before I let myself into the sauna. I actually read that doing a sauna 4 or 5 times a week can help with menopause symptoms, like hot flashes, believe it or not. And so I'm trying it. But I'm not really motivated. I'm motivated because I know I'll feel a little better after, and I feel like getting strong and accomplishing something. Lately, though, I'm starting to doubt how much it matters. I know. It's good for my health and my heart and my weight and my mental health. Sometimes, though, I kind of don't care. And I feel that way more and more lately. I get almost jittery when I'm bored. I feel like I have to just get up and go do something now. And I still get that way. But then when I jump up to go do something, I feel like there's nothing for me to do. Or I could do something I would have done in my younger years, paint a wall, ride a bike, dance, write, plant something, bake something, and now I just go, eh. Then I sit back down and berate myself for not wanting to do anything at all. Sometimes I do the thing. I'll bake some bread or plant something or take the dog for a walk, and instead of feeling like I did something, I feel irritated with myself for not doing more or not liking it that much. It's not depression, really, or at least it's not your garden variety type. I'm not sad. I don't feel sad. I feel like I've lost my mojo. I feel like I had magic and now it's gone, or it's just out of my grasp and I can't quite reach it. I have an oddly photographic memory, which is a kind of magic. But even that is fuzzing out on me lately, at least more than it used to. Some people called it an eidetic memory, but I actually recall the physical thing. I can answer Jeopardy clues because I can see the author's name on the cover of the book as it is. I can see the colors, the picture, the name of the book. And apparently this is unusual. Sometimes the picture's fuzzy, especially if I've been drinking a bit, and I have to really screw down my memory to see it or focus in. If I can't see it then, I have to relax, and usually later on it will come naturally. Like my brain knows I need it and keeps looking to focus in on the info while I've already given up. I've gotten in trouble for cheating in school because of this little quirk, and it's rare that anyone believes that I actually see the things in my memory that I do, but there they are, just waiting for the next pub trivia night. But lately, even things I can see in my mind, I can't seem to bring out completely. As I've gotten older, I can see the book, but the words are fuzzy, and that bothers me so much. I thought for a while, truthfully, that I was suffering from early Alzheimer's, which runs in my family, and I could be, if I'm being very honest with myself. But it seems to be more age-ish and related to flares of a chronic autoimmune disease I have, that fun lupus I described in the intro. I stopped writing for a while and reading. I found as I neared my 50s that I had the hardest time getting into a book. I couldn't seem to concentrate, and I reread the same paragraphs over and over, trying to get in. Books were never so hard for me before, reading or writing them. Words used to just flow over and out of me. They still do, but they are loaded with so much self-doubt now. I used to think that everything I wrote and said, okay, maybe not everything, but pretty close, was worth it, that it was valuable. And as I've gotten older and have been devalued more times than I can count, taunted, made fun of, even if at work in the most unintentional way, and I've devalued myself and my voice, which is something I never thought I would do. I thought I was strong, and I am in some ways. In many ways, though, I fail at being strong. While I would love to blame my self-doubt solely for my lack of reading and writing lately, I have to admit, part of me wonders what I could possibly contribute at this point. It feels like the world is just awash in the thoughts and feelings, both in writing, whether on social media or in actual publications and in video or photos. Feels like where once storytellers told stories and created worlds for us to enter, now everyone is inviting us into their worlds and then telling their stories because everyone has one. But do we need to know them all? And is it worth it any more to contribute? I'm not sure. It feels like white noise sometimes. So many voices, how to distinguish them all, or even just a few. I am filled with questions as I enter my 50s. I feel a little lost and a little angry sometimes, not for any one reason, but often just because. I am really wondering as I read the stories, so many stories of women reaching this age and feeling similarly, feeling like they have to push aside things that were once so important. Like me, these women feel angry sometimes for no reason, or outrageously sad. Doctors say it's hormones. Supplement sellers promise us fewer hot flashes. Some of it works. Turmeric solves all. But what if, just what if, there's a reason that when we hit 50, we just want to turn it all over and start again? Julia Child was in her 50s when she started The French Chef. Martha Stewart was in her 50s when she turned her life into Martha Stewart everything. Georgia O'Keeffe, Nancy Pelosi, I could go on, and perhaps I will someday. I guess I wonder if all of this brain fog and the hot flashes and decreased libido, if that's happening, aren't really our body's way of telling us to slow down for a bit here in the middle. Look at what you have going on. Is this how you want to spend the rest of your life? Not all of us can make great changes. We still need to work and live and raise children and drive them back and forth and back and forth and back again. So this natural pause, a menopause, if you will, is untimely and inconvenient in a modern world. But instead of fighting it, what if we lean into it a bit? So I am choosing to lean into my brain fog and my joint pain and my hot flashes. I went outside one brutally cold January night not very long ago in my sweats, a sweater, and my socks during a pretty overwhelmingly hell-like hot flash. And I stood at the end of our deck and looked up into the winter sky. Steam poured off of my skin for a second as I caught Orion's belt out of the corner of my eye. Stepping down off the deck and onto the path, I got a view of the entire night sky. A brilliant sight in the winter. I don't know all of the constellations, but I know enough to feel like I'm among friends when I'm outside at night alone. Pause. I am hitting pause for a bit while I enter this phase of my life. I want to see what silence brings. I've been so aggressive to find and achieve my life for so long. I'm a little tired. And a little more comfortable not seeking, not finding, not achieving, not a lot, but a little. Unmotivated, I am, but not without motivation. Okay, so thank you, first of all, for listening to that. If you got here, if you did not, then I guess, I don't know. Thanks anyway. Obviously I've started this podcast since writing this particular essay. And so I've developed a little more motivation, but I won't lie and say that I feel motivated. I often feel lost still, and I often feel unfocused. Part of that is my lupus, but part of that I think is just this time of life where I feel a bit like, looking at what I've failed at and where I've had successes and seeing if those things have mattered. I don't like to live in the past, and I don't like to think a lot about past things. I really generally like to move forward. I was a dog musher for many years, so I like to keep things moving forward, even if sometimes it ends up being a big circle. I never like to turn around and go back, and dogs don't either. So I guess I just keep trying to move forward, and even if I circle back once in a while and remind myself where I've been, I just like to move ahead. And anyway, I will be back tomorrow, Wednesday, and we'll get going on my goal to complete a year's worth of these essays. Hopefully somebody else will contribute. And if you'd like to, please write to me at writermish1313@gmail.com. You can get me on Instagram and Threads at writermish, or you can go to my website, mishkennedy.com. Thanks so much.